These are the 12 core factors that drive compulsive behavior, and that when you understand these, but more importantly, you understand where you are with those, you will have some clarity on what is driving this behavior in the first place. The need to numb out, the want to go past 1 or 2. And it's relevant whether you were talking about alcohol or sugar or caffeine or porn or gambling or social media or work, the most acceptable addiction there is out there. So let's move on. What drives compulsive behavior? Sleep is pulled out of one of the key habits because this is just foundational. So many people I speak to say, oh, I ask, and they say, well, I'm regularly drinking, so I drink every night and it helps me get to sleep. Lots of people say that. And then lots of people say, well, I've got no problem with my sleep, even though I'm regularly drinking or I'm drinking in the evening. I just want to say, I'm really sorry. It's actually impossible because alcohol stops you from getting deep sleep. And so you may feel like your eyes are closed. You may feel like you've slept well, but you're not getting deep sleep. Now, all of the science is showing us that the majority of neuroplasticity, which is the brain's ability to regrow, develop new ideas, build new habits, create new concepts, change itself, happens during deep sleep. So if you want to change your behavior, you need deep sleep. It's really key for that part of changing your brain, of changing these constructs in your head. So sleep is really important. There is a reason why they use sleep as torture, literally sleep deprivation as torture, because we just can't function. You'll die if you don't get sleep. Everyone needs good sleep. Most people who are regularly drinking alcohol, they don't know what good sleep is. And people often say, I've never had good sleep, or I only sleep 4 hours in 24, and things like that. A lot of this is tied up into a spaghetti mess, because things like ADHD and things like that hyperactivity stops people from getting sleep. I know that was me. And in fact, a lot of the science is showing us that a lot of ADHD is actually developed by lack of good sleep routine in babies. And more importantly, they now show very common similarities between ADHD or severe ADHD and just somebody who is very sleep deprived. Similar types of behaviors. This one is a big one. And if sleep is one for you and you're like, okay, my sleep is shit, it always has been, you just need to go all in on sleep. Read the books, listen to the podcasts about sleep. What are you doing about your bed? I'm serious. Invest in your bed. Why do you spend more money, 10 times more money on a car than you do on a bed? You spend most of your time in a bed. Our bed is phenomenal. We invested heavily in our bed, making sure that we sleep so well. It is to die for. And in fact, if you ever come to my house, our guest room is like that too. It's just an amazing bed. And people go, God, I slept so good. I'm like, yeah, that's what you get when you invest properly in a bed. And now there's some great tools as well to help cool down the room, removing the devices from your room, finding more calm during the day so that your central nervous system isn't stressed out, etc. If sleep is bent out for you, go deep into sleep. That is my core thing from you here. Make it a focus. Okay, mental health. This is a coexisting thing. Drinking alcohol regularly or problems in the other areas can make you feel like you have poor mental health. So many people are saying, I have depression or I have anxiety. Well, those are two outcomes of drinking alcohol. They're the source and they're the outcome. So we have to start to unwind these things. And inside mental health is, what does somebody's mental health look like when they change their diet, when they start exercising properly, when they're sleeping well, meditating properly, eating the right kinds of food, these other things in line. How much of that issue or those things that they had that they were going to the doctor about poor mental health evaporate or disappear? So this is all going down the functional medicine side of things, where traditionally you'd go in and you'd say to a doctor, I'm depressed, and he'd go, here's a pill. Well, by the way, a pill that doesn't work, right? No antidepressant has ever beaten a placebo in studies. That's true. Antidepressants have not beaten a placebo. So understanding your mental health, but understanding that poor mental health is both a cause and an effect on both sides. And if you figure out some of the other stuff first, then ask yourself the question all the way along this is, what is my mental health like? How am I feeling like when I'm doing the habits and the routines and I've got the other things aligned? Environment. So environment is about where you spend your time, how you're operating in work, the people who you're around. Slightly different from how the sense of connection, because that's really your community who you're with. And this is just the environment you're in. And of course, there's lots of us who live in very, very busy cities. I was commuting by tube into a windowless office every day, and I didn't realize how sick that was making me. I didn't realize that the way to switch that up was to Brompton via the park, and then, change the scenery into the office, get walk out during the day, again, get into greenery, changing that environment. Because if I didn't, I could feel this sense of rot, if you like, which would then drive compulsive behavior. So our environment is key. Ultimately, what did that lead to me, right? I now live in Mallorca. I live 300 meters away from the beach. It is an amazing environment. That is what helps me stay calmer and stay healthier and stay true and congruent to the things that I'm teaching others. We can't all move to the beach. I get it. So that relates back to cycling through the park and getting out to the park as often as possible. Environment is important. Such a big driver. Meaning and purpose. This is a big one because so many of us are climbing the wrong tree. I was climbing the wrong tree, right? I was dead set on being the world's top oil broker. I was dead set on being the number one and trying to beat absolutely everybody. And what I really discovered was that's not at all me. It's not what I want to be. It's not what I was put on the planet for. I want to help people. I want to change the world. I want to make a massive impact on the world. And when I discovered that this was the wrong tree for me, that's when I had to make the jump. Now, there's lots and lots and lots of people I speak to who are in jobs where they've created a huge amount of success for themselves. And it's not about everyone suddenly jumping out of corporate worlds and things like that. If you can, great. If you found that this is the wrong thing, fantastic. But I'll tell you one example of a guy being extremely successful in the bank, a very large bank. And he realized, he said, I'm not going to change this part, but I've realized that what is most important to me is that I help other people. And so he actually proposed inside to create a training environment for him to take young people through and for him to do more coaching. And then we spoke to him afterwards and he was like, I just feel so connected to who I am now because I know that I'm helping people and I know that I'm giving something back. So you don't have to just suddenly change the job. It's about tweaking things so that you're aligned to this meaning and purpose. There's one more thing in here which I was mentioning earlier to some of the team. A very high proportion of highly empathic people turn to compulsive behavior. And this is because emotions, we're not taught how to deal with them. No one teaches us how to properly process our emotions. If you grew up in my age group or above, absolutely not. What? Emotions? Pack them down? Let's not talk about that, right? So we've been preconditioned without emotions. But if you're highly empathic, then that packing down will always drive compulsive behavior. And this is why a very high proportion of highly emotional people end up turning to addiction, compulsive behavior, drinking too much, drugs. But guess what that means? And this is what's super awesome, is that when you help those people and you help them remove that behavior, like alcohol and in 1 year no beer, guess what you end up with? You end up with a community of really empathic people who care and want to support other people. And this is why so often, like the vast majority of what people are missing when it comes to meaning and purpose is them helping others. And we can get so much from that. Look at the groups, look at the community and how much people spend their time supporting others. Go into that. This is something really big for you here. Keep helping other people. Hopefully that was helpful.
If you'd like to keep going, then I can help. Check out the link below and I'll see you soon.